just want to tell you a little bit about my life up until this point. From a very young age, I had a real understanding that this life isn't all there is, that when we die we don't just disappear, that there is a heaven and a hell. And I knew that there was a God, and I liked that idea and I wanted to go to heaven. But as I, started to grow a little bit, entering high school, I knew that there were things, that God says are sin, and those things will send you to hell. And I didn't want to go to hell, but I started to struggle with the here and now. Even though I know that these things will bring distraction to my life, in that moment they would bring me pleasure and fun, and so it became kind of this tug-of-war in my life over whether I should do the right thing that will pay off later, and for a longer period of time, eternity, or to do the thing that I really wanted to do in that moment, which was to sin. And so ultimately I chose sin, and I chose this lifestyle that I thought at least in this life it's going to bring me happiness, and I tried to block out what it was going to bring me after death. And but as I started to get more into partying and having boyfriends and all those kind of the kind of typical teenager lifestyle, I actually found that even though for period of time they were bringing me happiness in a moment, it was the come down effect was horrendous. And in this life now I was starting to experience a sadness that I'd never ever felt, a hollowness and an emptiness that I'd never felt, and a loneliness that I'd never felt. And I look back now and I realize that's because I had rejected God who'd created me. And of course that's why he doesn't want us to sin. It's because it does bring all those feelings. And most of all I felt like I was guilty, and that I needed forgiveness. But I just kept trying to block that out of my mind. And I remember went out clubbing one night and I got very, very drunk, and ended up getting a lift home with a carload of strangers, and we're going down the freeway, going down Mitchell, and I just, they were all drunk. They'd been kicked out of the club for being too drunk, and they're driving me home, and I remember being in the back of the car thinking, oh my goodness, if we crash right now I'm going to die and I'm going to go to hell. And so I remember thinking, I've got to stay awake so that I can quickly pray and make my peace with God. And but I kept passing out, and thankfully I made it home alive. But that really scared me. That 18 years old, I would have thrown it all away, thrown my life away, and thrown eternity away that I would have been spending forever and ever and ever in a place that was created for Satan. And so I ended up going to church that Sunday, and the preacher preached it was like he knew my life. He said about people choosing not to know the truth because it doesn't fit with how they want to live, and that was exactly me. And so I responded to the invitation to accept Jesus Christ and to ask for forgiveness, and that's what I did. And Jesus forgave me, and he made me a new person in an instant. And I was forgiven. All that feeling of loneliness left me because God became my friend. And now I know that if I was to die, then I'm going to heaven. And I actually have, there's happiness and there's joy that cannot be found in anything in this world that I have right here in this life right now. And I totally recommend it. I know what it's like to not have Jesus Christ, and it's not happy, and I know what it's like to have him, and it's the best thing. So choose Jesus.
All right.